me to the next topic, Ray. It's kind of interesting here. Do you feel that media, whether it's traditional or social media especially, has impacted mental illness and personal trauma in individuals' lives?
Absolutely, absolutely. Media is powerful, and depending on whose hands it's in, or who's using it, it depends on whether it influences things in a good way or in a bad way. And I think I would say over the maybe last 5 years or so, maybe even 10 years, media has definitely brought a greater sense of awareness to the existence of mental health in people. And we can go back and think of of celebrities, for instance, who have come out and shared about their struggles and battles with things like depression, things like bipolar disorder. We have celebrities who we know have committed suicides, successfully committed suicide, or have even attempted suicide, and were not successful. And I think that them coming on and sharing, being the high profile, high status individuals that they are, have kind of normalized that for the rest of us. And it's made it okay for us to admit that it doesn't matter like how gifted you might be, how much money you might have, how many fans you might have, how many likes and shares and hearts you might get on social media, that at the end of the day, we are all human, and that life hits everybody. Life happens to everybody. So I think that social media, first and foremost, has done a good job at raising awareness about mental health, and it has allowed us the freedom and the voice and our own platforms to share what's going on with us, which I feel normalizes it for other people. Now, on the negative side, I feel like social media, also allows for people to learn unhealthy ways of coping.
Uh,
Never have I seen it so much in these days where our young people learn ways to commit suicide through social media. They learn ways to cope using substances and bad habits that lead to greater problems moving on in their lives. And we just have to be careful with social media because it is a power, like I said, that in and of itself is not harmful, but it all depends on whose hands it's in. So we have to make sure that our young people are seeing the right things on social media. When we think about, I mean, we can definitely go really deep into this question, but when I think about cyberbullying, people have ways of causing people to want to commit suicide because of social media. As a clinical psychologist, when I scroll through, I can almost diagnose people based upon the thread of their posts, because it has become a platform where people are able to voice and share how they really feel without fear of immediate rejection, immediate invalidation, and immediate kind of dismissal from people. So social media has its advantages and it has its disadvantages, but it is powerful in and of itself, and it's definitely impacting mental health and trauma in our life today.
wow, man.
Yeah, yeah,
That blows my mind. Obviously, I've raised two girls, and you know, that kind of came in on the tail end of the big social media upswing. So
yeah,
fortunately, kind of survived unscathed, if you will. But there's a lot of parents that are struggling with social media and their children, and just how to successfully navigate that. So it's good to hear from an expert on the positive side, but
mhm,
also the negative side, and I think that's important. Very nice. With this, but I do have one last question for you, and that is this: for all the people who are watching this program, this video, who may or may not be struggling with mental illness, is there any thoughts, suggestions, or even words of encouragement you might want to give those individuals?
yeah, absolutely. I'm an advocate for mental health and wellness, and I think up to this point, our reference to mental health is usually the idea of someone experiencing mental illness. And we shouldn't always think in terms of mental illness. I believe that we are physical. I believe that we are emotional. I believe that we are spiritual. And I think all of those things need to be addressed and monitored and taken care of on a consistent basis. So when we're talking about mental health, we are not simply talking about mental illness. There are so many people that have therapists, psychologists, coaches who are not do not have clinical issues, to say that. I have to teach people a lot of times, just because you're experiencing depression doesn't mean that you're clinically depressed. I don't need to give you medication. I don't need to hospitalize you. Guess what? What you're experiencing right now, anybody in your same situation would be feeling the way that you're feeling. So what you do is you acknowledge, I'm feeling depressed. I feel like there's heaviness on me. I feel like there's a lot on my plate. There's nothing wrong with that. And what you do is deal with that, learn ways to cope with it and combat it. That's what I'm talking about with mental health and wellness. And I think that if we can reframe that and not feel like it's a sign of being defective, not feel like it's a sign of being crazy, not feel like it's a sign of being weak, then we can really break the cycle in many of our current generations for the next generation. Because trauma is generational, and sometimes even mental health illness can be generational as well. If you're a depressed person raising kids, they learn how to express themselves in a depressed way. And oftentimes they don't get a chance to experience the range of emotions that most people experience. So, I would challenge each and every one of you to reevaluate what you're doing in terms of improving or maintaining good mental health and wellness. It will affect you physically. You'll be better, and spiritually, you'll feel more present. You'll feel more purposeful. You'll feel alive, and that's what's important. And for our Black and Brown communities, it's all the more important because, I know we're at the end of our interview, but, with what's happening today, in terms of economic inequity, in terms of racial divide and injustice, in terms of, just being able to feel like you're on an even playing ground, those things affect us automatically. So everything can be good. We could have a 850 credit score and a job making 6 figures, but because of systemic injustice and racism, we're constantly rejected and treated as second class, simply because of the way we look. And that will impact how you feel about yourself. So you need to kind of develop a cushion, develop a buffer against those things. And if you can think about addressing your mental health and wellness as just a part of me loving me, a part of me engaging in self-care and demonstrating to those who are around me that this is what self-care looks like, then I'm sure we can have a better home, a better community, better internal sense of peace, and a better world overall. So that's what I would share. I have more to share, but I'm going to leave it at that because I can get kind of excited about this topic.
This takes me back, man, to those years we were sitting in those classrooms with those kids and we were having these conversations, man. And I swear, I was getting therapy while you talked. So.
Well, then I'll be sending you my invoice very shortly.
my man, Ray Key. Well, listen. One last question before we go. Can you tell our viewers how they can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Like I said, social media is very beneficial. I have a website, www.drrk2.com. You can go there, you can read up about me, you can find out what services I provide. And also, if you're looking for a psychologist and want to book an appointment, you can get a consultation and set up your appointment online. So go there, check me out, share that website. Also, I put out content regarding mental health and wellness as often as I can on social media. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Key to Wellness. That's my last name, Kee, the number 2, Wellness, and you'll find content there. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter as Dr. Key, the number 2, DRKEE, the number 2. And I even just got on TikTok. All right, at Key to Wellness, at Key to Wellness, and I will be glad to answer whatever questions you might have. So follow me now. Now.
Well, Dr. Key, man, I'm so thankful that we finally got this chance to kind of sit down and talk. Hopefully it's been a benefit to the viewers who are watching this. We'll make sure and get your information in the bio or in the post of this video. And listen, man, I look forward to us working together again in the future, bro. All right.
John, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This was fun. And hopefully somebody was bettered by hearing what we've talked about today. So that's the goal, man.
That's the goal. Well, listen, cheers, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Take care.